gonna simply jump in here and just start reacting to the Andrew Wilson versus Brian Shapiro. Thank you so much for all you guys' support. I really appreciate the support that you guys have done to the channel. Again, make sure you guys like the content. That really helps growing the channel. We're gonna simply just jump in and see what's going on. Again, make sure you guys are nice in the chat. Don't cross the line. We're gonna be good. And support the channel through the super chats. I'm gonna really appreciate that. And also like and comment as well. In the meantime, let's jump in and see what's going on with this debate, Andrew Wilson versus Brian Shapiro.
Won't go down that route today. And we have a moderator who I'd like to introduce, and this is going to be a lot of fun. Going to be debating Andrew Wilson today. Today we were on Pierce Morgan.
Breaking up for you, Jake?
Yeah, breaking up big time.
Last week it was way too short.
Going on.
We just lost Jake.
Okay.
All right. So Jake's going to be moderator today.
Hold on a second.
And going to be debating Andrew Wilson for about 60 to 90 minutes or so, and then we'll do super chat, that sort of stuff. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's a little tricky because we haven't really done cross streams. I can't remember the last time I did a cross stream, but we're doing a cross stream today, so we're kind of figuring it out. Of course, they want to be on their platforms, and we want to be on our platforms. So that's kind of what we're doing now. Jake, are you there?
Yes, I am. You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah, we are live on our end, and I just wanted to introduce you as the moderator, so just people have a little bit of background on who you are, and then take it away.
All right, cool. So yeah, Jake, Rattlesnake TV on YouTube. Okay. You guys can find me there, and I'll be hosting and moderating the debate today. So the way that the debate's going to go is that we're going to do 5 minutes each of opening statements. The prompt for the debate is it ethical to support Donald Trump? You guys can really take that wherever you choose to take it, whatever topics that you guys want to go down. Brian, if you want to introduce yourself as well for the audience watching.
Okay.
Are you getting a lag as well, Andrew?
Did I lose Andrew there for a second?
I think we just keep getting a bit of a lag on your end there, Brian, I think.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I got you.
Yep. So if you're back, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay. Yeah, sure. For those of you that have not heard of me before, that are on Andrew's side of things, my name is Brian Shapiro. I've been doing political talk radio for about 8 years, been doing radio for 22 years total. I am not a liberal. I am not a Democrat. Not that there is anything wrong with that. But I am a registered independent that is extremely anti-Donald Trump. I certainly lean to the left on social issues. And I love good debate.
So you're a lefty. So you're basically a lefty. That's what you are right now.
Anything from doing Pierce Morgan a couple times a month. I've been doing his show for a while now, and Tim Pool, I do his show. And I love interviewing all different types of people. I think like Andrew, I would rather talk with people that I disagree with than just have a love fest and talk with people that I agree with on everything. Yeah, I mean, I think Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. I think he's a despicable human being. And I think he's an embarrassment to this country. And I'm sure we will get into that. But I also thank Andrew for willing to sit down and have this sort of debate. I think it's great. And I appreciate him doing that. And I think we need to do more of this stuff. I think there's too many people on both sides of the aisle, quite frankly, that are afraid to have these kinds of debates. So I'll leave it to Andrew.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Andrew Wilson. I'm the host of The Crucible. I'm what you would consider a far right-winger and Christian ethicist, and you would consider me.
I heard Andrew Wilson's positions, and when it comes down to his political stance, I can guarantee you he's not even more right-wing than myself. I can guarantee you that. I'm way more right-wing than Andrew.
Christian populist or Christian nationalist. I debate worldviews with people all over the world. And I'm here to stomp out Brian's guts today in this debate because I'm really good at doing that.
Okay, well, with that, gentlemen, we're going to get into the opening statements.
Let's go.
Is it ethical to support Donald Trump? Andrew will be arguing for the affirmative. So, Andrew, do you want to go first?
I can, sure. First and foremost, since this debate is about the ethics, that's the key word, ethics of supporting the Trump presidency, and my opponent's job is to build a case that to support Trump's presidency, it is unethical. My job is to build one that it is. We both need to go into what our ethical standards are so we can build our arguments around our ethical framework. I fully expect my opponent, having reviewed his debate style many times, to revert to shotgunning talking points as though that matters to the ethical standards that he sets forward. To give my position, I'm a Christian ethicist, and I attack these views through that position. The first ethical standard I will uphold is life. While Trump may have many personal failings, and I don't dispute that he does, it's essentially trivial in regards to his governance of a nation. If it comes to the choice of 600,000 dead babies per year or Trump's personal moral failings, this debate should be over in the intro. Kamala Harris wanted to expand abortion and abortion rights. Trump put judges in place who overturned Roe versus Wade. I can't imagine from my worldview what else could be more important from the ethical side of the debate. Brian would need to make a case why I should have supported, out of the binary choice available to me, Kamala Harris, where I would be assured to have my ethical stance violated and a possibility of a loaded court where this right actually may have been enshrined. What could be more important than that to a Christian ethicist? I have no idea. Next, I don't believe Brian even has an ethical framework at all, except things he doesn't like. Brian harps on deportation a lot, for instance, and contradicts himself often due to being a hyperactive spurglord. The truth is, a people has every business, in my worldview, to determine who they want to enter their nation, the means of how they enter the nation, and also to determine the peoples they want removed from that nation if they're violating the law or violating the spirit of the law. Brian will also bring up the Epstein files and has claimed many times Trump is involved in a cover-up due to the fact that he is in them. But this has never been established as a fact, and until it is, he's banking on speculation and not facts. Brian will also bring up things like Trump is a rapist, but his standard for evidence there is wild to say the least. Trump has never been convicted for any crime of raping anybody. Rather, he was found liable civilly, which isn't good evidence he committed a crime at all, or did the act at all. Only that the burden of proof for civil liability is much lower, and in such a hostile and politically charged environment, we have good reason to doubt this case based on a lack of compelling evidence. There are many other talking points that Brian uses, and we can get to all of them in due course of the debate, but to start with, I would like to establish the ethical system he uses, as I have demonstrated mine, and can answer his questions about it so that then we can launch into the individual issues. Brian also has a lot to answer for himself due to his rampant dishonesty and outright lies or mischaracterization of Trump's positions or events surrounding him. This is why his audience often refers to him as Lion Brian. From a video called Brian Shapiro Fact Checks Trump, which you can find on Brian's channel, Brian says Trump says that his greatest strength is building ballrooms. The Trump quote, he then plays the video, and what he actually said is, I've built many ballrooms and many buildings, and that is my greatest strength. And then at 2:01, Brian misquotes him again after watching the video, which is the most insane part. At 3:05, Brian says that a reporter asked for Trump about extending subsidies for people to afford health care, and you can listen to Trump literally say he's not going to do that, and Brian still claims that he's going to. Trump quote from the video played, I like my plan best. I don't give money to the insurance companies. I give it to the people directly and let them buy their own health care. Reporter asks if subsidies will be extended. Trump's response is, I'd rather not extend them at all. It may be that some kind of extension is necessary to get something else done because the Unaffordable Care Act, referring to the ACA, has been a disaster. At the 5-minute mark, Brian says that Trump wants to cut off health care for 20 million Americans, which is fucking crazy too, right? He also claimed in that same video that I called a debate opponent that I was engaged in a debate with a whore, which is an outright lie. He just outright lied about that. I have no idea why either. And so what are the ethics there? I think he also needs to account for those things. In short, what's his ethical standard and how does Trump violate it? what am I doing incorrect from my ethical view by supporting Trump? This is what needs to be established. Not to mention, he also told a series of lies about what happened on Piers Morgan. He claimed that I was running away from him for a debate when I was having technical issues. And I have all of the receipts to demonstrate this for Brian today if he doesn't want to retract the statement, or he can just say, I was mistaken. And we can leave it at that. Floor is yours, Brian.
So 5 minutes on the clock. Brian, also, apparently they can't hear Andrew on your stream. I don't know if Brian's frozen there or... Looks like he...
Yeah, he's frozen.
Unfortunately, my producer's trying to work on this, but the internet is going in and out, which is extremely difficult to have a debate with somebody when I can't hear everything that you're saying, Andrew. But I think we're good to go now. I did hear probably half of what you said. Let me start off with, because I think at the end there you brought up Piers Morgan. And can you guys hear me okay, by the way?
Yeah, the two criticisms I brought up was the first thing you claimed that I called a woman a whore during a debate, which I did not do. That was a complete fabrication. And then the second thing was that you had brought up that I was running from you in a debate, which I was definitely not.
Let me address that. So let me address that first. For those of you that are unaware, me and Andrew were on the Piers Morgan show last week. I guess Andrew had some technical difficulties at the time. What I did is I went on Twitter and what I thought was a funny joke. It didn't go very good for Andrew. I think he was, dodging me or something like that. And then I put a smiley face at the end. It was in good humor and I thought it was funny and I was laughing while I was tweeting it. And I didn't expect that the response to that would be somebody calling me retarded and getting so upset that you would put a paragraph in there and call me a libtard and all this other stuff. And then after you did that, I actually was laughing more because I couldn't believe how triggered you got and how upset you got over what I thought was an honest joke. And I was laughing about it. I have no idea what happened, whether you had technical issues, whatever. Okay, fine, I believe that. But I was making a joke about it, and I have a sense of humor, and I thought it was funny. And I thought it was a little strange that you got that upset and responded in the way you did, calling me a word that I don't usually use on or off the air, but calling me that was a little strange. So that's addressing that issue. I don't remember the tweet where you're saying that you called a woman a whore. I don't remember that. I would think I maybe was referring to the video of 2 weeks ago when a woman, which is something, by the way, that I won't do. I'm not interested in talking about your family, and I'm sure you're not interested in talking about my family. But she had mentioned your wife, and I'm not going to get into that. And that's a video that kind of went viral and exploded. I don't remember the exact terminology that I used in describing that.
You told a caller that I called her a whore, which was just not true.
A caller that called into my show?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that specific video, I don't think you used that terminology. Then it's quite possible if I did say that. I don't remember saying that. But if a caller called in, I'm on the air 10 hours a week. Sometimes I would imagine I could mischaracterize things, but I do think that you were extremely triggered. I think even you would agree with that in that specific video. So you made a lot of judgments in about 5 or 6 minutes about me, about what I'm going to say. You brought up Kamala Harris, which to me has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about, which is Donald Trump. In this specific situation, his character, his flaws. Yeah, I am going to bring up the Epstein files, but I would ask you this question. Can you give me one logical reason why they have put Maxwell in a Club Med facility, allowed her a puppy, and have given her preferential treatment at the hands of the Donald Trump administration? Can you give me one logical explanation and reasoning behind they did that? Can you also explain to me
Hang on, one point at a time, Brian.
Yeah, he's just going
why
crazy.
Why would they do that?
So we're ceding the opening statement time. Let's just get straight into back and forth.
Okay.
Why would they do that, Andrew?
Yeah, so a good logical reason for this would be that they want to get more information out of her as to what's going on between these various cases. That could be one logical reason. Another reason, which is likely a good reason, is that she's going to cut a deal for names. That's another possible reason. So there are logical reasons why this is, but what you can't do, Brian, is you can't take an absence of evidence and then based on an absence of evidence, just fill in the blanks. That's not evidence at all. That's just speculation. Hang on, Brian. Hang on, Brian. Don't spurg out. Just let me finish.
Okay.
An absence of evidence does not make a case for you. You need to actually make an affirmative case for these things. But before we even get into that, Can we start with what your ethical system is so that I understand the viewpoint you're debating from?
Sure. And then maybe we can get back to that if that's okay.
That's fine with me, yeah.
So I believe the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, should set an example for everybody else. I believe if you're the president, you probably shouldn't be attacking POWs and Gold Star families and attacking women on looks. You shouldn't be calling journalists names, and you shouldn't be hurling out second-grade insults. I believe that the president is at a higher standard than you and me and every regular, everyday American.
That's not an ethical system, Brian. Okay, that's just your opinion.
I'm giving you my opinion of what ethical standards are.
Yeah, that doesn't matter now. And this is a big hole right now. So we're already in the big hole because those are not a system, right? Those are just opinion of what you think is moral. I can guarantee you right now, he's gonna struggle with that.
You have an ethical system, Brian.
Not taking advantage financially of your
these
position.
Are opinions, Brian.
No, it's not an opinion. No, it's not an opinion.
What's the ethical system, Brian?
My definition, which I am giving you, of being an ethical being. Okay, I'm sorry. What? Okay, I heard something in the background. I don't know what that was. My definition. You're asking me what my definition of what an ethical system is. What I am doing is I am giving you my definition of what I want ethically from the president of the United States. That's what we're
here.
Your
ethics are just whatever Brian thinks is ethical.
Yeah, that's what it is.
No, my ethics, I think, are what most of the population thinks are ethical, which is don't cheat on your wife, don't be a liable sexual abuser, don't steal money from your position of power, which is exactly what Donald Trump is doing. I think these are very standard things that most Americans.
But Brian, let me show you the problem. Let me show you the logical issue here. All you're giving me, you're just reiterating for me the things Brian thinks bad. Exactly. I get that. Brian doesn't like these things. You're not actually giving me an ethical system from which you're making these judgments. So for me, I'm using Christian ethics. That's informing my ethical judgments.
Okay, well,
hang on. That's how I'm able to come to these views. You have some kind of ethical system which allows you to come to these views. What is it?
I would say very basic stuff that you would read actually in the Bible. Don't steal.
So the Bible is your ethical system?
But is that your belief system? Is that your ethical system?
Well, I'm doing it so hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from here. This is very basic stuff, and I'm shocked that
is the Bible your ethical system or isn't it?
I'm not a religious person, Andrew. You are.
What is your ethical system, Brian?
I'm telling you, it's very, very basic.
What?
And a lot of the stuff you would probably read in the Bible.
Yeah,
don't cheat. Don't steal. These are very basic things of anybody, let alone the president of the United
Brian,
States.
those are things you think bad. I'm asking for what makes them bad, other than Brian thinks they're bad
too, right?
Yeah, you've already rejected biblical ethics and Christian ethics. You already said you don't believe those things. So Brian, what does Brian use to make value assessment, ethical judgments? What is your ethical system?
So I didn't say that. There are some things in the Bible that I do believe. I didn't say that I disagree with everything that's
based on what, though? Based on what? What is the ethical system you're using, bro? What is it?
I'm confused that here I am telling you, because this debate is not about my definition of what my ethics system is.
It's literally about ethics.
Hold on. It's about Donald Trump, why you support him, why I don't, where we disagree. We can talk about ethics. That's fine. I don't think Donald Trump has them. And you could say you disagree with me based on your religion. That's fine.
The debate's literally on ethics, Brian.
Yeah, he's not.
Okay.
The ethics of supporting the president of the United States. I need to know what your ethical system is. What is your ethical system?
And I'm giving it to you. And I'm giving you a basic standard of what I expect from somebody that would have basic ethics. That's the president of the United States, which is, as you interrupted me earlier, don't cheat, don't steal, don't lie.
Yeah, those are preferences. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get away with this one, Brian. I think you're talking about preferences, but those are not systems, and those preferences can change. So you better just find a system. I don't know. I don't care what it is a system from the Middle East or something, but you have to come up with something because you're right now in a big hole.
Those are the things that Donald Trump has done, And some of those things he continues to do every day. I can't spell it out.
Brian, what I'm asking isn't about what you think that Trump is doing that's bad. I understand you believe Trump is doing bad things. I understand that. My question is, what are you grounding these ethics in? What's the system you ground it in? So, for instance, I'm guessing you believe murder is bad, right?
Well, yeah, the system.
Yeah, okay, so there has to be, but you have a reason. You have a reason why you think murder is bad. Yeah. What is the reason for that? What is the reasons?
Well, you're talking about breaking the law. That's very different than some of the things that
Oh my God, this is going to be a problem. And remember, guys, he has an audience, and I guess he's just catering to his audience. That's what I think is happening. I'm assuming here, but because the question is very easy. The question is very easy, guys. What's your ethical belief system, basically? Mine's Christianity. That's my worldview. This is how when it comes down to ethics and value, this is where I just judge some of my decisions like this. But I don't think he's getting the question, guys.
Referring to, we could also talk about breaking the law.
Even if murder was lawful, wouldn't you still be against it?
I'm against any innocent person being hurt in any way, shape, or form. That's the way I was raised.
So there's an ethical system here. What is the ethical system?
So if you want to really break it down to my ethical system, which is a little bizarre, but we can go there.
Why is that bizarre? We're having a debate on the ethics of Donald Trump.
Right. And I want to give you specific examples of why I don't believe he's a very ethically sound person. I don't understand why you need a definition.
Because you would have to compare why he's not an ethical person with the grounding belief of what is an ethical. So, for instance, if you say, Andrew, Jesus wouldn't like Donald Trump because A, B, C, and D.
Sure.
Right. I'm deriving my ethical system from Christian ethics. So that's why you can make that criticism, right? I have no fucking idea what you're deriving your ethical system from, though. So can you please, is it just your preferences, like things that you think are bad because they're bad?
The way that I was raised, my family, the way I was taught on what's wrong and what's right, the way I was taught at a very young age to not judge people based on their skin color or sexuality, to treat people the way that you want to be treated.
Okay, so your whole ethical system is just Brian's preferences.
I don't think it's just Brian's preferences.
Well, whose other preferences are you basing it on?
I would like to believe that most people in society, more than 50%, would agree that it's not an ethically standard good thing to do to say and do the things that Donald Trump does on a regular basis. Now,
so you believe that ethics are derived from the majority?
Not necessarily. I think everybody's different. I think everyone's raised differently. I think everybody comes from a different background, different religion.
So which ethical system are you using then, other than Brian's own ethics, if they don't come from the majority?
Yeah, correct, Frank Rizzo. Even veterans attack John McCain. That's a good point.
And they're not, hang on. Let me ask the question. If they don't come from the majority, they don't come from other people.
Correct.
They come from you. How do you make these value judgments? What's the system that you're using to say thing bad, other than because just Brian thinks thing bad?
For argument's sake, so that we could move the conversation along, because we've now been talking about this for 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, this dude is a master gaslighter, man. Oh my God, this is gonna be a gaslighting fest here.
The thing that matters is Donald Trump's behavior and how you defend it, and we'll get into it. I will make it very easy for you, Andrew.
Okay.
This is me. You're talking to Brian Shapiro. Okay. I have certain standards in a certain way that I vote. I'm sure some people agree with me. Some people disagree with me. I would imagine you disagree.
All right.
I vote, number one, not on policy, on the human being. Are they a decent human being? By my standards, I'll make it easier for you. I don't want to support somebody who is a bad human being. By my definition, I won't use anybody else's definition.
So your ethics come from your own, from you. You're the ultimate arbiter of what is ethical.
I'm not. That's my opinion. Okay, and what I think.
Then what is this system for ethics here? So if you say all of these things are bad because I think all of them are bad, I can accept that. You saying you're the ultimate arbiter of what is ethical, I can at least accept that. But if you're trying to make it appeal to something else, and that's what your ethics are grounded in, then I need to know that.
I'm not trying to make an appeal to something else.
Then you are the ultimate arbiter of what is ethical, right?
And if that makes it sufficient for you, Andrew, to continue this conversation, then I'm fine with that.
Okay, so do you agree that you're the ultimate arbiter of what's ethical?
These are my opinions on what I think are ethical. You might think cheating on a wife and having sex with a porn star.
This is worse than a woman. This is worse than a modern woman, man. This is gonna be bad. The reason I'm saying this is, first of all, the guy sounds very emotional. And not only that, clearly he's catering to his own audience, which is going to be a problem because we're here for the sake of the truth. And sometimes both sides need to not collapse, but go against each other to find the truth. But this guy's already a master gaslighter. Cannot answer a question, doesn't even know what the ethical system is. Not only that, he's just mentioning a lot of preferences. They are not even that important to the conversation. This is to show you that philosophical debates go beyond the surface politics, which I can guarantee this guy right here is used to. This dude sounds like somebody that just listened to talking points 24/7. Sad, man. It's sad.
2 weeks after Melania has a baby, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's unethical.
That's not my question, though. We can get to those things. I'm just asking you, is Brian Shapiro, when you make an ethics claim, it's based solely on Brian Shapiro's opinion. And because it's based on your opinion, that is what is ethical.
I think it's based on a lot of things, and like I said, I am not a religious person. I don't live my life.
So then your morality, your subjective morality comes from your own personal preferences, right?
Okay, but there are a lot of things that I do believe in that are wrong, that are stated as wrong in the Bible.
You believe. So you again are the ultimate arbiter of what is moral or is not moral.
A lot of my beliefs are maybe not the same as your beliefs or others. I'm not.
Oh my God.
So what makes yours right other than you believe them?
Well, we can go into that. I think I think a lot of people would say that it's not ethical to steal. I think you.
Well, you see how you just said a lot of people. So what you did now is you're making an appeal to a majority again,
okay,
which
so
is hang on, Brian. I'm going to explain this to you. You once again are making an appeal to a majority. If you do that, you just say, well, if Donald Trump's approvals rating is above 51%, then you're being unethical. And obviously that's not what you mean here.
Yeah.
So you can't make appeals to other. Hang on, you can't make appeals to other people and say the majority is where you get your ethics, because it's not. So are you, Brian, the ultimate arbiter of what is ethical or not? Or can you give me a standard outside of yourself that you use for ethics?
In this specific conversation, these are my opinions, my beliefs. There is no system that I use. People can agree and disagree.
So for the purpose of the conversation, you're the ultimate arbiter of what is ethical.
I'm responsible for what I say on this debate. Okay. These are my personal opinions, and I've been very clear on that. Nobody's
okay. So then why can't I just reject everything you say by just saying, no, I'm the ultimate arbiter of everything that's ethical?
We can disagree on that, and we can have a conversation on why you feel the way you feel and why I feel the way I feel.
So you have no standard for ethics other than you?
I have a standard for ethics that I was taught at a very young age that I believe in. I would like to get to Donald Trump.
So your standard for ethics is you.
I mean, Andrew, right? If that pleases you, Andrew, we can fine. That's fine. In order to move along the conversation, because quite frankly, Andrew, I think this is stupid. I want to talk.
I'm sure you do. You don't have any basis or grounding to make criticisms outside of yourself.
I have a lot of basis that I would like to get into with you. I would like to talk about Donald Trump. I would like to talk about his behavior, and I could give two craps what system you think I use or what I don't use. I want to know how you can support a man who attacks Gold Star families, a man who attacks POWs, a man who's in $1 billion crypto scandal. I want to know how you wear that Christian cross around.
He said already he's willing to get to all that. No problem. He even granted some of these talking points. However, you need and I know why I guess he's not giving an inch on this, because maybe he knows that Andrew will get him with that. Because if he doesn't have the ethical system, nothing beyond that matters. Because that means that he's the ultimate arbiter of his own preferences when it comes down to ethical systems. Does nobody want to listen to this dude? Where in the hell? So this dude thinks because he has his own preferences based on whatever society has done or choose or shows in the last thousands of years, he thinks that these things just come out of nowhere. These are just preferences, guys. Unless you have a system that just can back up some of these ethical systems that you have, it means nothing because these preferences can change anytime soon. And this is where Andrew's trying to just get him. He's trying to get him right there. But I don't even know he really understanding this.
Your neck and support this guy who is the ultimate sinner, who lies on a daily basis, who literally, in my personal opinion, along with Pete Hegseth, are committing murders. Okay. I want to know, as a Christian man, how you can support a guy who's cheated on every single woman he's ever been with.
I want to know. And I want to know, Brian. Okay, hang on. That's fair.
No, hold on. I'm not done yet.
You're going to keep shotgunning? You're going to keep shotgunning?
Hold on a second. You did a 10-minute monologue. The least you could do is let me finish.
I didn't do a 10-minute monologue.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
I want to know what your system is, where you think it's okay to support a man who's a liable sexual abuser, a 34-count felon, and a guy that literally hurls second-grade insults at journalists, which you defended on the Piers Morgan show. Now, I really don't care what your ethical standard is. I want to know you personally, how you can continue to curl yourself into the MAGA right-wing pretzel that you do every single day and hide behind your religion. I want to know how you can do that. So why don't you answer my question?
I was just trying to get all this cleared up a second ago, but you seem to refuse.
Please
from what standard can you say any of this support that I do is unethical?
Andrew, this isn't going to be much of a debate if you're not going to answer my question. So
I am answering your question. You don't have any standard from which to criticize anything I support. You have no standard to do this.
Why don't you respond to my question?
I am responding to your question. You have no standard. You have no standard from which to make a criticism. You have no ethical standards from which to make a criticism.
This is how you debate. You charge people $250. Wow. I didn't want this to go down this route because I want to have a respectful debate with you, Andrew, and I do appreciate you doing this.
Coaching with Andrew Wilson, man, that's cheap. That's cheap. I didn't even know this. But that's cheap. Extremely cheap. I thought it was in the thousands.
But I'd like to have a real debate with you.
This is a real debate.
Okay. So far,
I'm making you justify your position, Brian. Okay. That's what a real debate is.
I want to know, do you have a problem? It's a question I'm asking you, but you haven't answered any of my questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you have a problem with the leader of the free world, Donald Trump, attacking Gold Star family, saying he doesn't respect John McCain because he was captured? Let's just focus on John McCain for a moment. That one statement, which I think should have disqualified him as president to begin with. Are you okay with a man running for president attacking a POW, saying you don't respect him because he was captured? I tend to respect people that were captured, that weren't captured. Are you okay with that?
Well, when you say okay here, you're asking about an ethical claim. So you're asking, Andrew, do you think that this is moral or immoral when he does this? What we have not clarified is what moral or immoral is other than a Brian value judgment. So if you're just asking me, hang on. So if you're just asking me based on value judgments of preference, do you have any issues with X thing? Then I could just always say, no, you have no standard from which to criticize this. Do you understand that?
I do understand what you're doing here. I do. I'm asking you as a human being.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
I'm sure you are.
As a human being, I can say, yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's okay for Trump just to criticize John McCain. I think it's okay. I think it's not okay. That means nothing in reality if you have no ethical system, because based on what we can judge you is absent. So it means nothing. Right? This guy trying to put shame. He's basically doing female tactic, trying to do not only gaslighting, sign language. He's trying to put shame, insult, guilt, and of course need to be right. Very feminine approach to this type of conversation.
How you are okay with, or maybe you're not willing to admit it. Are you okay with someone in power or somebody that is running for president that would attack somebody for being a POW for 5 years, regardless of what your opinions might be on John McCain?
Yeah. So let's say I have an issue. With almost everything Trump has ever done or said out loud. From my ethical purview, What could be more important to a Christian ethicist than the topic of abortion? From our view, from our world, hang on, from our worldview, that is the most important issue. We actually think that you're killing human beings, right? Hang on, Brian. Listen, I'm going to answer your question. I'm answering it. You just have to listen, and then you'll understand. It wouldn't even matter if I had an issue with almost everything Trump has ever said out loud. That wouldn't even be an issue. If it is the case that you can name anything which would trump, from my worldview, 600,000 children getting murdered yearly, because from my worldview, that's what we believe. That's my ethical system believes that. What can you name, Brian, that Trump has done which is worse than killing 600,000 children per year, and why it would be that I should support an oppositional candidate if I only have two choices, which wants to expand that? Do you have one thing that you can name that would trump that or not?
Yeah, I'll get into that, but I just want to explain to the audience, because this is very disappointing, Andrew. You charge $250 to give advice.
Yo, this dude is like an extreme gaslighter, bro. This is not going to end well, guys. This is not going to end well. This dude is using female tactics, guys, to get his point across. This is not going to end well, guys.
Advice to people on how to debate.
I don't give advice.
Okay, my question had absolutely. I'm happy to talk about abortion with you. I think it's a very fair conversation to have.
Okay, let's have
My
it.
question had absolutely nothing to do.
I'm granting your whole argument.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Andrew. Hang on. Andrew, this isn't Piers Morgan. Hang on a second. Okay.
Oh my God. This dude is
question
incredible.
had nothing to do with abortion.
Okay.
It was a statement that Donald Trump made. You could either say, I don't have a problem with it, or I do. Then we can talk about the abortion issue.
Brian, I'm granting all criticisms of Trump that you say are true. I'm granting it, literally granting it for the purpose of the argument. If that's the case, though, and you're saying that it's unethical for me to support his presidency, then he would need to give me a compelling reason past 600,000 aborted fetuses a year, which are human beings. You would have to actually, hang on, Brian, stop, Brian, listen. You would actually have to give me a compelling reason that is an overage of that to then make the claim that it would be unethical for me to support his presidency over the alternative. Can you name one of those things or not?
So, first of all, your definition of killing is very different than my definition of killing. Your opinions on abortion are very different.
That's why I was trying to clarify our ethical system.
Why he's trying to clarify your position and ethical system. Guys, this is very easy. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. I don't know if he really understanding this part, guys. If you ask that same question to Andrew, he was going to tell you Christianity is his ethical system. Easy. Boom. This is where I'm going to judge all my morals and ethical values. Simple. In his case, he's struggling with this question for the reason is the ethical system is absent. It's completely absent. It's very relative. And it's a spectrum that is always moving up and down. I think this is the reason why he's clearly struggling with this question.
In the beginning, you remember that?
There are over 60% of people in this country that have been polled, Republicans and Democrats,
oh my God,
that think that abortion should be legal across the board.
Yeah,
now,
but you're just appealing to the majority again.
I'm talking about me. My definition of a kill is different than your definition of a kill. For example, if a 13-year-old girl is raped and her family decide that they do not want to have that baby, I do not consider that abortion to be murder. Now, in most states in this country, abortion is legal. There are some states where it is not. There are a few states where abortion, no exceptions. My definition is different than yours. We can get back to the abortion issue, but going back to and by the way, if you want to talk about your definition of 600,000 kills, well, I could tell you this, Andrew, 20 million people are going to lose their health care coverage, Medicaid. Many of those people rely on that health care coverage because they cannot afford health.
This dude's he's just thinking about how can I just go against conservative talking points. And we are not here. Clearly, Andrew Wilson is not here to just discuss these talking points. These talking points are just so 2016. They're just very boring. We want to know, where do you get these ideas? We want to know where these systems that you believe, or preferences that you believe, are coming from. We need to know. And that way we can follow whatever you believe.
Are 600,000 of them going to die, Brian?
Let me finish, Andrew.
Okay, go ahead.
I can tell you that because of Donald Trump's failures during COVID, he is partially responsible for millions of people that died.
Okay.
He did not take the virus seriously. He turned his COVID press conferences into campaign rallies. He talked about injecting yourself with disinfectant. A lot of people died, Andrew. And I'm not saying every single person died of COVID because of Donald Trump, but I can tell you a lot of people did die because Donald Trump and many of his stupid supporters did not take the virus seriously. They still don't. I almost died from the virus. And as I was in the ICU for 2 weeks, and I almost died of COVID.
Yeah, maybe because you took the vaccine, that's why. I mean, these people have like 25 boosters, right? I'm just, of course, being facetious, but he probably has multiple boosters. You know, my brother, he got like 4 boosters or something like that. His body is like, his immune system is in the ground, man. He's been in the hospital like 5 times since the last time we talked. Like, he's just, I see him, I'm like, God damn, man. You took like 4 or 5 boosters and your body's almost destroyed. Like, you're always in the doctor, you're always getting sick. You're working out, but it's not working out for you. Like, I don't know, man. That's
I had to listen to people on the right talk about how this was a hoax, that it was fake, it wasn't real.
This has nothing to do with any points that are being made, Brian.
It does, because you're talking about people that are being murdered. I would imagine the unborn. Again, my definition of a kill when it comes to abortion is very different.
Yeah, people like him just literally make me go extreme. Do like a federal ban of abortion, man. People like him really make me go extreme and just ban their entire thing, man. Because people like him, they're weak, dangerous. I don't want to give power to people like this.
Then what
what is it?
Here's the difference between you and me.
What is the definition then of murder for you?
Especially when it comes to this issue.
Okay.
I don't tell people what to do. I don't want to tell people what to do. If you, Andrew, want to have 100 kids, I wouldn't recommend it, but you're welcome to have 100 kids. I'm not going to tell a woman that she cannot have an abortion. It is a fundamental difference. Now, late-term abortion.
Are you going to tell a serial killer that they can't be serial killers, Brian?
You are comparing, which is beyond asinine, with all due respect, a serial killer going out there and killing people in society to abortion. My definition
we consider it murder. My ethical system considers it murder, Brian.
Okay, well, I don't care what your ethical system says.
Yeah, right, but we're having a debate on ethics, Brian. We're having a debate on ethics.
No, Jake, I think at this point, I think it's fair enough to say that Jake needs to just come in and, set up some rules here.
A debate on why you support Donald Trump and I don't.
What's the title of the debate?
Okay, I didn't put the title in. Your producer or moderator did. I didn't make the title of this. In fact, when
we did actually say that the topic of the debate is it ethical to support Donald Trump? So this is why Andrew's trying to hone in on the ethical system, but he did grant it and say that, Brian, your ethical system is like a preference-based ethical system, and then he granted the things you said, so you guys can move on with the different claims.
I would like to do that, but Andrew,
Andrew, we can't hear you, man. You need to log in now.
I think
Andrew still didn't answer my very basic debating 101 question.
Yeah, I think
he pivoted to abortion. I asked him, are you, a very basic question that I think anybody would answer, no matter what your answer is.
Jake.
When Donald Trump attacked the service of John McCain, and by the way, I'm not a Ron DeSantis fan. I'm not a J.D. Vance fan. But one thing I would never do is crap on their military service, which I respect very much. Donald Trump said he didn't respect John McCain because he was captured. This question has nothing to do with abortion. Are you okay with that? And are you comfortable supporting a man who attacks a POW because he was captured? That question has nothing to do with abortion. I don't care what your system comes from, or quite frankly, I don't care what your religion is. This is Andrew Wilson versus Brian Shapiro, my opinions versus yours. I'm not okay with anybody, let alone somebody who's running for president of the United States, crapping on somebody's military service and saying you don't respect somebody because they were captured. Oh, yeah, by the way, Donald Trump dodged the military multiple times.
All right, hold on a second. I think Andrew's microphone's having trouble.
I think we're good. You guys can hear me okay. So, Brian,
yes.
Do you understand what granting a position means in a debate?
I absolutely do, and I'm not going to be talked down to.
So if I'm granting... So if I'm granting no, Brian, shut up.
Hold on, Brian. You just did a monologue for a while.
Stop spurging, Brian.
You asked me a question,
Brian. Stop spurging, Brian.
You asked me a question.
Stop spurging, Brian. Stop spurging, Brian.
Don't ask me questions.
Brian, stop spurging out.
Then don't ask me questions.
Yo, this dude, I'm telling you. Listen, you guys know that I'm not a fan of feminism. Not a fan of feminism. I think that feminism is a real danger to Western civilization. But talk about weak men, man. Weak men are the worst. Weak men are worse than feminists because they have the power for destruction. They cannot control their emotion. It becomes like a force that's incapable of being stopped unless there's another man stopping it. This dude, I don't know what's all about this dude, but I think when I see a man like this, I cannot see myself and say, you know what? I want to be like this dude. I want to emulate something about this dude. There's nothing that tells me, or, there's nothing here that I really want to emulate. I don't know. Like, this dude is extremely emotional. And this is a problem, again, because emotional men tend to be very power hungry.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. You already answered the question. So the thing is like, if it is the case that I'm granting the position, what I would need from you is why it would actually be unethical if I give you this thing, which is the paramount to my ethical system. In this case, it would be abortion, 600,000 lives per year. Even if I granted the COVID thing, let's say that Trump killed 1 million people due to mishandling of COVID-19. Over the long term, there's still going to be way more aborted babies than any death toll Trump had during COVID. So if it's the case, you have to tell me again, Brian, what could possibly trump that for a Christian? What could trump that when I have a choice between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump? She's going to expand these rights for abortion, enshrine them into law, right? Thus killing way more, from my worldview, people, human beings. What would ever trump that? Why would I have voted for her instead? Why? Can you tell me that or not?
Sure. A lot of different reasons why.
Okay, why?
Why I think Kamala Harris would have been a far better candidate. First of all, I don't believe we would have been headed towards a recession. I don't believe we would have had to deal with the tariffs. I don't believe.
Oh my God, this dude has no idea about economy. I mean, this dude has no idea what economy will be worse. Not a recession. It'll be a damn depression. Like, you know how high the inflation was? You know what would happen if the prices of houses keep going up? You have no idea. Do you really think that when you look at Kamala Harris, you say, you know what? She knows what she's talking about. You have to be naive. I'm telling you, weak men are the worst.
Kamala Harris would have rolled out.
Would she have expanded abortion rights, Brian?
Andrew, it's my turn now, right?
Would she have expanded abortion rights?
Andrew, smoke a cigarette.
Can you answer the question? Would she have expanded abortion rights?
Andrew, you don't get to just ask a question.
Would she have expanded abortion rights, Brian?
Okay, so Andrew, you're supposed to be the master debater. That means let me.
I just want you to answer one
question.
Guys,
if we keep on going back and forth like this, we're going to need to do a cross examination. So maybe 20 minutes each. Do you guys want to do that? 20 minutes.
Brian is just catering to his audience though.
Examination, or do you want to just answer each other's questions?
I would like to finish answering Andrew's question before he asks me another one. He asked me about Kamala Harris, right, Andrew? You asked me why should I have voted for her over Donald Trump?
No, that's not what I asked you.
He asked you why from his perspective.
Listen very closely to what I asked you so that you understand what I'm saying to you. From my Christian worldview, abortion is murder. It doesn't matter what you think, Brian. It matters in this case what I think. That's my worldview. That's my interpretation of the world. Okay, that's my ethical system. Yours is based on whatever Brian thinks, right? So it's just as valid for me to, I guess, to say whatever Andrew thinks.
Sure, fine.
I consider each of these things, I consider each abortion a murder. I consider each abortion a murder. So if that's the case, there's 600,000 murders per year going on inside of this nation. Trump moved to overturn Roe v. Wade, thus moving the goal to cancel the idea of women being able to have abortions. Kamala Harris was going to expand this and enshrine it, meaning that over the long term, over many, many, many years, Kamala Harris, from my worldview, would have killed a drastically higher amount of people than anything you could ever pin on Trump, including COVID. If that's the case, what would be the compelling reason over that from a Christian worldview for why I should have voted for a woman who would expand that? That's my question.
So if it's going back to the abortion issue, which obviously we disagree upon, and you move the goalpost, as I said, millions of people died of COVID. And I think in part because of Donald Trump's lack of leadership during COVID. And your response to that was, well, more people would have died in the future from abortions. And you used the term murder. I fundamentally disagree with you on that issue. We've established that, Andrew. I disagree. I don't think abortion is murder. You do. And I don't care.
Can you just steel man my position so I know you know it? What is my position here? Okay, what's the question I actually asked you?
You think abortion is murder, clearly. And when you say that Kamala and Donald Trump stopped the killings of unborn babies, you're trying to ask me the question, from my perspective.
Okay.
Yes.
Why should I have voted for Kamala Harris? My view. I completely disagree with your view. And here's why.
Okay. Why?
I don't believe.
Oh, you don't believe.
Well, that's what this conversation is about, Andrew. We're not.
I do believe. We don't know what you believe. You have preferences, but we don't know what you believe. We don't know your ethical system. We have no idea what the hell you bring all these preferences. So we're still going back to zero.
Brian, so where does that get us? I do believe and you don't believe.
Andrew, calm down for a moment. These are my opinions and your opinions.
Okay. Like you're being condescending, and this two just have very strong feminine energy, man. This dude has strong feminine energy. He has no idea what it is all about. He has no idea. He's getting owned by himself. He's literally getting owned by himself. And Andrew's not doing anything.
Sending him to be a jerk to have a conversation. Okay, Andrew, which is it going to be? You can either
I'm listening, Brian.
Daddy. Okay, Daddy, I guess.
Hey, here's the difference, Andrew, between me and a lot of other people you debate. I don't tolerate condescension. Okay, which is what you're doing right now. You're not better than me. Your religion isn't better than me. And quite frankly, I could care where your beliefs come from.
Yo, this dude is stuck in 2001. Yo, you're stuck in 2001 listening to Korn, listening to Creation, Linkin Park. You're still stuck in this rebel kind of mindset, man. You need to grow up from that. This is not about you, man. It's about the topic, and we want to know where a lot of these preferences are coming from. That's it.
Stop laughing. Stop.
Yo, this dude is stuck in Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Korn, Little Rebel, you know what I'm saying? With a little headphones and a little CD player,
Stop being a jerk, and we can have a respect.
Brian, do you understand? Do you understand?
You keep starting
to understand the ethical system?
Stop. You keep starting the sentence with, do you understand?
Do you understand?
Hold on a second. You like to make it sound like you're smarter than everybody else, and you're extremely condescending. Andrew, I have news for you. You're not. Your religion doesn't make you better than me. Your system doesn't make you better than me.
Okay.
Stop the laughing. Let's have a conversation and stop being a jerk.
All right. So I'm just going to quickly interrupt, guys. I just want to quickly say, so the debate prompt is obviously, is it ethical to support Donald Trump? And so we have to sort of pin on the other person why they are unethical for supporting Donald Trump based upon whatever ethical system. So Andrew has the Christian ethical system. Brian, you've got your own ethical system as well. And then the idea here is that we have to say why it's unethical for that person to support Donald Trump.
And so here's my argument. My argument is very simple, and it has not been refuted. It's not even being engaged with. It's a very simple argument. From my ethical purview, which Brian can't dispute, right? Because his is all preference-based. Therefore, my preferences should be just as valid as his. I believe that abortion is murder. Brian believes abortion is not murder. Okay, great. We've established that. But what we're trying to do is determine whether or not the other person is doing a thing which is unethical. In this particular case, he would need to give me a more convincing argument than 600,000 babies dead per year, and why I would support a candidate who would enshrine that as a right, as over the long term, this would create an insurmountable amount of death from my worldview of innocent lives. So until he can establish whatever that is, then the alternative of me supporting the candidate who is rolling back abortion and Roe v. Wade is the most ethical position from the Christian viewpoint. And that's what I actually want him to contend with, and he just won't.
I want to respond to how ridiculous this is. So let me just explain. Andrew has made the hardline case that abortion is murder, which obviously we've established I disagree with. And because your claim of Donald Trump stopping 600,000 abortions and saving 600,000 lives, anything that Donald Trump says or does that doesn't rise to your definition of what abortion is to that level, then I'm defending my own position, and you can't beat me in this debate, is the most ridiculous. Let me tell you something. I've been doing this for like 20 years.
It's an argument from incredulity. I need an actual argument, Brian.
Okay, I have an actual argument, but you're
give
just
it to me.
You're going to hide behind your fake Christian religion. This isn't going to go the way you want it to.
Fake Christian?
I think you're a fake person. Yes, I do, Andrew, and I can give you examples as to why. Okay.
I thought so. Now we want to get personal. Do we?
I think this is a fake debate because you want to hide behind Christianity instead of just having.
That's my ethical system, Brian. That's my ethical system.
My ethical system tells me that I don't like fake people that hide behind their religion. That's my system. I got it from my
system says that you shouldn't hide behind your preferences. Where are we established here?
My preferences are I don't put on a fake Christian cross and defend a liable sexual abuser and a 34-count felon, and then hide behind your abortion argument. He can't do anything as bad as killing.
Can you give me an argument? Can you give me an argument?
Sure, I will give you an argument. Let's start with a very basic foundation.
Okay.
From a foreign affairs issue, so hopefully we can get off this abortion debate because, quite frankly, it's tiresome. I understand.
We're not debating abortion. We're debating ethics.
He doesn't even, bro.
Your definition of abortion.
He does not even know what the hell they're debating. Yo, this dude, the thing is, you know what's crazy? It's a little bit of arrogance, in my opinion, the way he just coming to this type of conversation. And he was doing it when he was with Tim Pool. He was trying to do this. Now, here's my problem with all this. The thing is that let's say, for the sake of argument, that he has very good points. His points were probably stronger if he start with a position knowing where these ideas come from. You see what I'm saying? But what problem is that we have arrogance coming to the equation. And arrogance is just avoiding his own ego to just sit down and listen to what Andrew's asking. The only thing he had to say is, it comes from this. Besides preferences, it comes from this. It comes from paganism. It can be paganism. It can be a cultural, Greek culture, whatever. It can come from any of those things. The thing is that when you have preferences tend to change. Preferences simply change. We can see, 1939, that's preferences. During the Soviet era, that's another preferences. During the Napoleon Revolution, the French Revolution, Napoleon became an emperor. All of a sudden, those preferences were out of the window, and now Napoleon is the emperor. That's a new preferences. You see what I'm saying? Ethics has to be clear, and we need to know where these ideas come from. If you don't do that, what happens is everything becomes a spectrum, and all of a sudden you have people just throwing a lot of weird ideas, and we are supposed to accept all these ideas because of preferences. Hopefully that makes sense, guys.
Is a kill, and it's your basis behind your entire argument, and I can't believe you don't even understand.
That's the basis of my ethics, Brian. You haven't given me any standard for your ethics. You have given me no standard.
I've given you plenty of standards.
No, you just say, because I believe it because I believe it. That's your whole standard. Brian believes what he believes because he believes it.
So is it unethical to cheat on your wife? Is that unethical?
From the Christian view, it is, yes.
Okay. So that's maybe we can agree on that. I don't like Donald Trump's.
We don't. Andrew can basically say that from the Christian religion, it is unethical. However, from your side of the equation, we don't know yet. We really don't know. You're just saying preferably it is unethical.
Sexcapades. I think it sets a very bad example for the country when you're the leader of the free world. Is by your ethical standards.
Hang on. One point at a time. Let's start with this one. Let's start with this one.
Sure.
So we established that you and I both think cheating on your wife is unethical.
Yes.
Okay, great. So the thing is, is that would it make me unethical to vote for a man who cheated on his wife if he did a policy, right, which valued a higher kind of ethical authority that I have? So in this case, guy cheats on wife 3 times, but also stops 600,000 people from getting fucking aborted per year. Hang on, Brian. Hang on. Why would it then be unethical for me to support that man for president? That's what we keep getting back to, because you won't engage with that argument. You won't engage with it.
We don't keep going back to that. You keep going back.
Because that's my argument, Brian. That's my argument.
Your entire argument, no matter what Donald Trump does. For example, let's just say Donald Trump molested a child on video. Would your defense be, well, he hasn't killed 600,000 babies? Now I'm asking you your standard here. If Donald Trump was seen on a camera, God forbid, if raping a child and then killing one child, would your defense be, well, I'm still supporting him because he saved 600,000 babies' lives and abortion is illegal in this many states? Would that be?
And let me explain why. So from the ethical view, there can be things which I would consider trivial dalliances, meaning things which are forgivable. And then there would be things which I would consider to be or you could maybe forgive them from the Christian view, right? But it'd still at least be an immediate disqualifier from any support in the future. Because hang on, stop. Because the thing was so egregious and over the top in comparison to this other thing. From a strict utilitarian view, you could make the argument, of course, that yes, you would still support him 600K lives against that, but I'm not a utilitarian and I don't view ethics the same way as utilitarians do. So hang on. So what I'm going to say to you is like,
back at him.
Is him cheating on his wife enough for me to not support him in comparison to abortion, where he has the potential to save 600,000 unborn people per year? The answer is, of course, I will do that over the opposition who would enshrine that into law. What choice would I have to make the ethical decision there, Brian? What other choice would I even have? I'm
trying to get to the bar where you put aside for a moment your take on abortion and 600,000 unborn babies. You made the case that you probably, I think this is what I got from your answer, you probably wouldn't support Donald Trump if right now he molested a child on video. Is that what I'm saying?
If you did something which was so egregious rather than
I want to know what that is. That's what I want to know. I want to know where that is, where you think it's so egregious. Andrew Wilson cannot support Donald Trump anymore. So it's molesting a child. Is that fair to say? Is that a fair assessment of your opinion?
Yeah, I think if you rape kids, that would be a deal breaker for me altogether. Yes.
Okay, fair enough. What if he was at one point the best friend of one of the biggest sex traffickers in the world? He bragged about grabbing women by the genitals. He admitted on camera to sexualizing his own daughter, saying, "Boy, I would date her."
These are moving into very trivial criticism. So
trivial,
trivial criticisms. You would have to demonstrate with evidence that Donald Trump ever raped anybody, which you can't do.
Say rape,
and you would have rape.
No, I said I didn't say he raped.
Well, exactly. And you can't say with any evidence that he ever molested any children at all. So the thing is that these things within the purview to test the ethical system are fine, but you would need to give me an example now of something that's so egregious that he would do that I would not forgive whatever that trivial detail was in comparison, to this other very egregious detail of 600,000 dying per year from my view. Do you understand? Yeah, well, but Brian, remember, we're just talking about our opinions because you have no ethical system other than my opinion.
But again, I just want to be very clear. It's your opinion that abortion is murder. Very different.
And it's just your opinion that it's not, right?
Right.
Okay, so then we're on totally equal playing field here because you have no ethical system other than opinion.
Okay, so first of all, to be clear, every single time I bring up a fact or something that Donald Trump has said or something that Donald Trump has done or something that is extremely egregious, at least in my eyes, your sort of debate on this, or your defense of it, is always going to go back to, well, he overturned Roe versus Wade. He got, people on the Supreme Court to overturn Roe versus Wade.
Yeah. Do you understand? Hang on, Brian. Do you understand why I'm doing that? Is because I'm giving you an ethical purview from the Christian view. From the Christian view, do you agree with me? Most Christians consider abortion murder. Most, not all, but most do. Most of us do.
I would say that most evangelical Christians do,
and Orthodox and Catholics also.
But there is a fine line difference between the way I want to live my life, and if I don't believe in
I understand that these aren't I understand these are not your preferences. I get that. I understand that you don't share this value structure. We're not talking about your value structure. Your value structure is just your preference, things that Brian likes. My value structure is Christian ethics. So I fit in the box.
I understand
hang on. So, but because of that, in my worldview, you do concede that we consider abortion murder, right?
I think you do.
Do you concede that the Catholic Church, their official position on it is that abortion's murder?
I've spoken to priests that do not consider abortion to be murder.
These two cannot concede, bro. These two cannot concede anything, man. It's gonna be hard. This is gonna be hard to watch. But this dude is just a master gaslighter, man. Like, he cannot. I mean, there has to be some kind of boundaries here, man. I hope he does the breakfast test. If you didn't have breakfast this morning, how would you feel?
I asked you what a priest says individually. I asked you what the official stance of the church is.
I believe the official stance of the church is that what you are referring to.
Yes, but and it's the official stance of the Orthodox Church, which I'm an Orthodox. Hang on, not a Roman Catholic. I'm an Orthodox Christian, and most evangelicals share this view. So, from our ethical worldview, you're these women are murdering people. That's our ethics. So, if that's the case, when you ask me, Andrew, what about this trivial dalliance? He made fun of a Gold Star family, or he did this, or hang on, he said Haitians ate cats, or whatever the fucking criticism is, right? Which one of these dalliances or trivial things that you would attack Trump on would ever trump the fact that 600,000 murders per year are going on here, and he put in the mechanisms to stop it, and they're still moving against it. He overturned Roe v. Wade, and the only other person I had an option to vote for would have attempted to enshrine it in law. That's what I'm asking you for. Can you make an argument against that?
The abortion issue with you is far more important than someone who incites an insurrection. The abortion issue for you is far more important than a man who's literally stolen $1 billion in a crypto scandal. The abortion issue for you is more important than rolling out the red carpet for evil, murderous dictators. The abortion issue.
Well, wait a second. What do you mean dictator?
You don't think Vladimir Putin is an evil dictator?
Well, okay. I didn't know you were referencing him. I thought you were referencing
him. He went from Trump to Putin. Wow.
I figured when I said rolling out the red carpet for an evil dictator, you would understand I was talking about Vladimir
I didn't catch the rolling out the red carpet.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. No problem. I would think that, or you think that apparently, that abortion is a more important issue to you than a man who is literally okay with Pete Hegseth and his cronies murdering people on boats. You care more about the abortion issue than apparently 20 million people that are going to lose their health care coverage, millions of people that are going to lose their food stamps. You care more about abortion than Donald Trump inviting the prince, the Saudi prince.
Yeah, I know all the talking
points. Is a murderer.
Yeah. So let's go through these. So let's go through these one at a time. Let's start with rolling out the red carpet for a dictator.
Sure.
From a Christian worldview, if we believe you're murdering 600,000 people per year, do you think from our view, it would be more important that Trump rolled out the red carpet, even if I granted it, for Vladimir Putin, or that he put a stop to those 600,000 murders per year? Which thing would you think, from my ethical viewpoint, be more ethical to support?
I guarantee you Vladimir Putin is responsible for more than 600,000 innocent deaths. Do you not care about that? Is that not part of your...
That has nothing to do with Trump. So the thing is like, what
Trump.
We have to do, well, that's what you just said a million times. This is about Trump. So
rolling out
tell me, from my view, which thing from my view, from a Christian ethical view, would you say would be more important for a Christian? Which thing would be more important? Which thing?
So here's why.
Can you just answer the question? Which thing from my view would be more important? Obviously and logically.
the way this is going to work, Andrew, is I'm going to answer it the way I want to answer it, not the way
not going to answer it.
Not the way Christian Andrew. Well, you're not answering any of my questions. You always go back to abortion, and it's impossible to have a debate with
you. We don't even know what's your ethical system. I think at this point, I think Andrew's being kind of a nice guy, if you ask me. I mean, this dude is being very difficult to just talk and just, it's going to be hard to have a debate with this dude because this dude is just a pain, man.
Your arguments. I'm granting everything you're saying is being true and still showing you the ethical implication.
What do you mean you're granting me? He did roll out a red carpet for Andrew.
But even if that's but Brian, don't you understand that even if that's the case, and I just grant that this is true, I don't even contest it. Why, from my worldview, would that be more important than the 600,000 deaths per year? Sure. Why? Can you answer me that?
Again, you're going back to abortion, but I will. There are millions and millions of people in this country, children that are starving. There are millions of people in this country.
Where are these starving children?
Government assistance. It's called food stamps.
Those kids aren't starving. They're not starving. You just made that up, Brian.
I actually didn't, because
you show me a starving child in this country right now, I will feed them right this second. Show me one.
Okay. So I could literally tell you that last night, driving in North Las Vegas on the way home, I saw families and children living on the streets, not knowing where their next meal is going to be from. The fact that you aren't even aware of this.
How do you know? Did you stop and ask him, Brian? Did you stop and ask him?
Here's how I knew, Andrew.
Yeah, how did you know?
You don't have a place to live, and you're living on the streets, and you don't have a shower, and there are people that are struggling and don't know where they're going to get their next meal from.
How do you know that was the condition of these people, Brian? How do you know that? Did you even ask them?
People that were living on the streets, that have been living there.
How do you even know that they were living on the street, Brian? How do you know?
Sure, I can give you that answer, and I think it's pathetic that you would even
give me the fucking answer. Then give it to me. What is the answer?
We're live on the radio, so I don't think we have to use the F word.
I'm sorry, I didn't know. I didn't realize you couldn't say the F word on. Okay,
don't talk to me like you talked to that chick a few weeks ago. I would appreciate a little bit more respect than that.
Bro, get the hell out of here with that bullshit, bro. This guy, man. This dude is just such a puss, man. This dude's such a puss. We don't even, at this point, it's just a gaslighted contest. Who can gaslight more? At this point, there's no concept of debate. We're not debating anything. And at this point, I don't even think it's worth it. I guess this is Andrew's position. Like, I don't even know how the hell I'm going to get through this.
So first of all,
when I'm showing respect.
Okay, well, I'm trying to be very respectful here because this debate is.
Well, you won't even engage. You won't engage with the point that I'm making over and over.
I totally understand. Let me be very clear. I totally understand the point that Andrew's trying to make.
And what's the counter argument?
Okay, the counter argument is, number one. First of all, there are a lot of people that don't agree that abortion is murder. I'm one of them. So going by your system, there he goes with that feminine laughing.
Well, because Brian, you said all ethics are
going by your ethical system. Yeah. It doesn't matter what Donald Trump does, what he says, or the lives that he is responsible for, if it doesn't go to the extent of 600,000 babies.
What's the argument then? What is the argument?
That's not an argument that you're making. It's a joke.
It's an argument.
It's a joke. Now I'm going to go back.
So you don't have an argument? You have no counter argument at all.
I have plenty of arguments if you'd like to listen. Now,
hang on. But what's the counter argument to this? So what you're saying, hang on, Brian, what you're saying is this. You're saying, Andrew, listen, you and I have different ethical systems. Yeah, no shit. That's established, right? Both of us have different ethical systems. That's why I spent the entire beginning part of this trying to establish what your ethical system was so that we could have a conversation. It's just reduced to Brian's preferences. If that's the case, then whatever you prefer is only as valid as everything I prefer. And if that's the case, hang on, if that's the case, it's not just preference, then what is it?
This argument is based on your religious preferences. I don't care. Okay, hold on. I don't care what your religion is.
Well, then how do you have an ethical debate then?
Hey, here's why. Because there are people out there that are extremely religious people. They're like Donald Trump's former pastor, who has molested kids, who is in jail right now.
Good, so that's where he belongs.
Hold on. There are people out there that preach their religion every single day. They call themselves people of God. They go to church every Sunday. And these are some of the same people that cheat on their husbands or wives, that commit horrible crime. This is why I say I don't give an F what Andrew Wilson's religion is. What I do care about is the president of the United States who attacks Gold Star families, who attacks women of color, who has no problem in allowing people from South Africa that are 100% grant them amnesty. Won't do that for anybody that looks brown. I care more about what the president is doing to this country and the fact that food stamps are off the table for millions of Americans, 20 million plus losing healthcare coverage. Now, if you want to continue to talk about your religious system, I could care less what that is. I want to know how you can continue to defend and support the man that is in charge right now.
Okay, I'll tell you.
He lies every single day.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
So many
because people. Any of the trivial things which you associate with Donald Trump,
it's not trivial.
Any of the trivial attacks that you give to Donald Trump, you have not successfully yet engaged with my actual argument, which is just this, and it's a very simple argument. We're debating about worldviews right now. Your worldview is that Trump bad. I get that. I understand. You think Trump bad?
Not my worldview.
Okay, well, you think Trump do bad thing. Okay, that's at least your worldview.
Not Trump do bad things. Okay.
Yeah, Trump do bad things. So hang on, bro. Calm down. Calm down. I'm almost done. It's Trump do bad thing. It's like, okay, I can grant that you believe Trump do bad things. But the thing is here is that because we're having a debate on our epistemology, which is our how we interpret knowledge itself, and what our actual ethical systems are, and how we interpret what's unethical and what isn't unethical. My simple based argument to you is I can grant all of these trivial things which you apply to Donald Trump. And even if I do, from my ethical worldview, which is just as valid as yours by your own admission, I should still support him because that would be the most ethical thing to do if 600,000 babies per year are dying. That's what I would love to have a counter argument.
You're a one-position voter. You're a one-position voter then. Why don't you just admit it? The abortion issue.
I'm not a one-position voter, but I would say that's the most important position.
So if I can't come up with anything else because it doesn't rise as to your opinion of abortion and what Donald Trump has done overturning Roe versus Wade, then what are we here for?
Because because we're here to establish whether or not Christians are doing something unethical by supporting the Trump presidency. Hang on, stop. When from the Christian view, what could be more ethical than supporting somebody who rolled back Roe v. Wade? Based on the trivial things that you attack Trump for.
I'm not necessarily saying that Christians are doing something unethical. I'm talking about how Donald Trump is doing things that are
I just lit my cigarette backwards. That was unethical.
Unlawful. You can smoke as many cigarettes as you want, Andrew, and I'm not going to judge you on that. I made a joke earlier.
You're too worried about what people say instead of just listening, man. I mean, like, he's too worried. Like, I don't know what happened, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if it was raised by a single mom or something, because this is insane, man. This debate is just a waste of time. It's just a waste of time. Andrew literally just wasted his time. This dude, this is more, like I said before, a gaslighting contest. And this dude is just gaslighting because his audience likes that. That's what it is. And if you guys, again, haven't watched the Tim Pool debate against him, it was so cringy and so hard to watch. The dude didn't want to shut up. Didn't know what he was talking about. He didn't understand that indictment doesn't mean charges. Like, it's weird, man. And he has been debating for 20 years. That's another thing. It's crazy.
I do that from time to time, like I did on social media. But the point that I'm trying to make here, which I think you're failing to understand, is that I'm not making the case that everybody who voted for Donald Trump is an unethical person. In fact, I have friends of mine who have voted for Donald Trump. I've dated women who have voted for Donald Trump. The case that I make is I think everybody has different reasoning. Some people might be a little ill-informed. Some people might be uneducated. Some people might not care. Some people might have boatloads of money and they know that Donald Trump is going to save them money on their taxes and they don't care how unethical he is. Everybody has different reasons for why they support Donald Trump.
I agree.
If your case that you're trying to make here today is everything that I bring up is super succeeded by the abortion issue, then it's very difficult. We disagree on abortion. Okay. That's obvious. Okay. We both disagree. You think it's murder based on your religion. I guess my question is, are you capable, Andrew, right now of having a man-to-man conversation with me?
That's what we've been doing.
Hold on. Let me just finish the sentence. Maybe putting religion off to the side, even though I know your Christianity is obviously very important to you. Are you capable of having a conversation without invoking religion? Can we do that?
My entire worldview is dependent upon Christian ethics. My whole worldview. Everything I believe is informed through Christian ethics, including how I interpret the world, how I interpret logic, how I interpret philosophy, how I interpret epistemic claims, ontological claims, how I interpret.
So he can't. You're asking for something that goes even against his own belief. In that way, because you want him to enter your frame, your own world. I think this is one of the reasons why the Western world is just falling apart. We just conceded so many stances as a religious nation that right now to just pull ourselves out of it's going to be very difficult, guys.
Cosmological claims. All of those things are informed by Christianity and Christian ethics, including my political takes. What you're asking me is to set aside the very value set which we're debating, which is, Andrew, under Christian ethics, what is the most important thing to support, and why should Christians support Trump? I'm laying out a very clear and concise argument for why I think the most ethical thing that Christians can do is support the candidate which is pro-life and has been successful in rolling back Roe v. Wade, which can save up to 600,000 plus lives per year over the long term. So hang on. So if you think, though, that Christians have some alternative reason that trumps that from the ethical purview, that's your case to make, Brian. You have to make the case for why I'm wrong about what I think Christians should be doing.
Let's talk about that. So you use the term pro-life, which I think is an absurd statement, because most Republicans that are anti-abortion is the word I would use, not pro-life, like you. As soon as that baby is born, Republicans continually vote against government programs that can help that mother raise that child, whether we're talking about maternity leave, welfare, food stamps. Almost every, and by the way, Republicans have been trying to shut down unemployment benefits for years. So if you want to call yourself pro-life, which, by the way, I think is a joke based on policies put forth by Republicans, it's not pro-life to take away food stamps from people. It's not pro-life to take away Medicaid from people. It's not pro-life to give the top 1% the biggest tax breaks in American history, which is $100 billion this year. You know what pro-life would be? Taking that $100 billion, if you're so anti-abortion, and helping women raise children. Okay, that would be pro-life. Everything that the Republican Party stands for after the baby is born is anti-life, as I just laid that out. So don't give me this BS of this pro-life stuff.
Well, that's funny, Brian, because I did raise children, and you criticized me for it. So I just want to point.
How many children have you adopted? How many children have you adopted? There's 400,000 children right now that are waiting to be adopted.
None of these guys, none of these are arguments, by the way. None of these conversations really matter. None of this stuff really matters. If we don't get the question that was at the beginning, none of this really matters, because you don't have authority to even judge me. You don't even have the same belief system to judge me. So Andrew, understand this.
Abortion should be illegal, which obviously you do. We would have millions of children right now waiting to be adopted. Andrew, how many children have you adopted?
There's not a single baby put up for adoption who's not adopted, Brian. Not one.
Andrew, how many? There are hundreds of thousands of kids right now that are still
not a single baby. Brian, there's not a single baby put up for adoption that's not adopted. Not one.
Okay, so there are not hundreds of thousands of kids right now that are not waiting for foster.
So this happens often due to like abuses in the home, or due to things like this where they're mentally challenged. But babies themselves, if mothers put the baby up for adoption, they're always adopted.
So how many?
In fact, there's a massive. Hang on. In fact, there's a massive waiting list for adoptions of babies. There's not enough babies to meet the demand of good Christian people who are adopting them, Brian. What happens though is that sometimes in families, right, including secular families, especially secular families, or non-Christian families, you often do find the conditionals where massive abuse happens, kids become mentally disturbed, and they become reliant on state institutions, because they often are abused even in state institutions, okay? And yes, of course, Christians have a big heart. We've been taking care of those people for years and years and years. Before the state ever involved themselves in those programs, Brian,
The Catholic Church in their outreach, and by the way, still is the case, was the largest in the outreach program of taking care of these children in orphanages and other things like this. The state has routinely done a terrible job at this. Your chances of being abused inside of state institutions, even if you're in an abusive family, is actually much higher. Even if you're taken out of a abusive family, put into a state institution, your chances of being abused are much higher. That's the crazy part. So from an ethics perspective, this is an insane argument that you're making, and it makes no sense. Of course I'm pro-life. You can't say I'm not pro-life because I refuse to murder a person, because I then won't add to the conditionals of giving them a free hand their entire life after that. That's absurd.
Is it pro-life to be against maternity leave? Is it pro-life to take away food stamps and welfare to it
can be, sure. For one thing, welfare creates yes, it can be, of course. Welfare creates massive dependency issues. And by the way, a lot of the things that people are buying with their welfare food stamps
is bad.
Totally unhealthy for them.
Very bad.
Packed full of fructose corn syrup, packed full of all kinds of horrible things. So and anytime, and hang on, Brian, let me just point this out. Okay. Why is it?
Brian watches, I noticed this. He loved virtual signaling. He loved the virtual signaling. He's here for the virtual signaling.
You say that it's not the pro-life position for me to say you can't murder children, right? But for some reason, your position is the contrary one. You should murder children if you won't take care of everybody's children indefinitely. That's your position. That's the logical entailment of your position, sir.
Nope, you're totally
missing.
No, it's not.
How is that not the logical entailment?
No, it's not.
Is it better than, Brian? Is it better for a woman to abort a child she can't afford than it is for her to have it?
It's not the decision for a middle-aged white.
That's not what I asked you. I answered the question I asked you. Is it better or not? Is it better or not for her to abort the child?
In certain situations, especially when you're the victim of rape or incest.
No. You're not a victim of rape or incest. Is it you purely on financial terms? You just feel like you can't afford the child. Do you think that if a woman decides to go ahead and end that pregnancy, that's totally fine and viable?
Are we talking about late-term abortion or early-term abortion? What month are we talking about?
Whatever month. I don't care.
Okay, well, that's
second month 2.
According to my system, that's okay with me, Andrew.
Right. So then your position is actually the logical entailment is you're more pro-life than me, even though you will say to a woman, hey, if there's a financial burden here that you think you can't set, go ahead and kill the kid. That's the most anti-life position.
You didn't let me even answer the question. So I believe every situation is different. It's obviously a very difficult situation that a woman has to make. And I would never, ever, as a middle-aged white dude who doesn't know what it's like to be pregnant, tell a woman what to do with her own body. Now, if you're comfortable in doing so by your system, then go ahead and feel that way, Andrew. I disagree with you. I don't want to tell women what to do with their bodies. However, I will say this.
You tell women what to do with their bodies all the time.
I tell women what to do with their bodies all the time.
Of course. Yeah, sure.
Also, tell me.
Well, for instance, do you think that women should be able to just walk around naked?
I'm not the one who put that law on the books.
I'm asking you, do you think that women should just be allowed to walk around naked?
I think everybody should be allowed to probably walk around naked.
What about women?
Should they be able to walk around naked at schools?
Well, that's going into a different category. We have laws in this. By the way, that's not a woman's body. That's what putting over her body. We're talking about what we put inside our body, what we do inside our body.
No, that's all part of your body. You don't.
Okay,
it's all part of your body.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so if I put on a hat, that's part of my body. So
your head is definitely part of your body, bro.
Okay, so hold on. Let me just get this right. According to
Andrew, I mandate what you do with your body. Yes.
Hold on. So if I have AIDS, if I put on a shirt, my shirt has AIDS.
No, you're making a category error.
Do you realize how stupid you sound?
You just made a category error, Brian.
You're saying that my shirt is my body.
Hang on. I'm sorry, Brian. What would your argument be if the government said you had to wear a silly hat? They mandated you had to wear a silly hat.
That's not my body, Andrew. That's not
okay. So what would your argument? What would your argument be that the government shouldn't be allowed to make you wear a silly hat?
What would be my? It's a ridiculous question.
Answer the question, please. What would your argument be?
Okay, so I'll answer it, but I just want to be clear here. We're talking about abortion. And
now we're talking about bodily autonomy.
And Andrew's trying to make the case with what clothes we wear and what hats we wear. It's a ridiculous question. Is it my body, my choice or not? Answer that question.
No.
When it comes to vaccines, is it my body, my choice?
Well, when it comes to vaccinations, again, we're in a different category. And
the thing is, my choice?
Yeah, the thing is that here, when you're talking about this, I'm just asking you a simple logical question.
I've been doing that.
Do you think that it's okay to mandate what clothing, or that people have to wear clothing? Do you think that's okay to do?
In certain situations, I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
But
and the reason is because you think that there's some limits which can be put on autonomy, bodily autonomy. In this case, you have to wear garments when you go outside. You have to, right? You and I can agree to that.
When you're in private, you can do whatever you want as far as clothing goes. When you're outside of your home, it's completely different. When we're talking about a woman's body and we're talking about abortion, we're not just talking about in the home. We're talking about her entire life.
We're talking in terms of an innocent life versus a non-innocent life.
Well,
we're asking, you have to understand from I'm going to explain my view. From your view, when you talk about SA, a woman being raped, which is a horrible thing, and then they become pregnant for it, the argument that you make that she should then be allowed to abort is akin to making an argument to me that a mother got raped and then just went home and killed her son. It's the same argument from my view. You're basically saying you are now allowed to kill based on an egregious action happening to you. So because of that, that's the logical entailment from my view.
We always go back to your definition of what killing is and my definition of what killing is are very, very different.
How are we supposed to have a debate unless we can get the semantics straight, understand each other's views, and then attack those views?
It's very simple. You would consider if I went out on the street right now and I shot up a bunch of people, the same as if a woman gets an abortion and kills somebody. It's a very different definition, murder, between yours and mine. I've tried to establish that view.
Okay, what's your definition of murder?
My definition of murder, if it cannot survive outside the womb, then it is not a human being. That is my personal opinion.
Oh my God. What's your definition of murder? If it cannot survive outside the womb, whatever. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can take more of this. Murder is simply just somebody deleting somebody's life, whether it's intentional or non-intentional. That's it, man. Whether it's self-defense or not, that's what it is. Simple as that. But this dude just went straight to talking points. You see, weak men are a problem, guys. Weak men are a problem.
Now,
then what about somebody on a life support machine? Are they a human being?
Somebody outside a life support machine is already outside the womb, and at one point in their life was able to survive. That is why when somebody is on, I'm so glad you asked that. When somebody is on life support, the next of kin in many cases can make the decision with doctors on whether they should pull the plug or not. There's a reason for that. And the reason for that is because there might not be any brain activity. Okay.
That's not always the case. That family members get to. And by the way, let me point this out. You're making the same exact comparison. In this case, the womb is the life support machine. For some reason, though, you just exit the human element from the human being. That's the crazy part. And so the thing is, Brian, is like, look, I'm willing to agree with you that you 100% do not believe that this is a human life and that there's no ensoulment or whatever it is your argument is. But when we're having an ethics debate, we're doing it from two separate views. I'm using my Christian view. You're using the Brian Shapiro preference view. In your preference and your ideology, this is not a life, so therefore it's totally fine. And in mine, it is. But you're supposed to be demonstrating the case for why people who agree with me, who are Christians, shouldn't value this higher than whatever your trivial criticisms are of Trump when it comes to the death of this many children from our view. Now, Brian, can you do that or not?
I'm not speaking to Christians, and I am not.
Who are you speaking to?
I'm speaking to you. Okay. I'm not speaking in general terms to all Christian people, or quite frankly, anybody that's, supports Donald Trump. Every single time we get into a different conversation, it always goes back to your opinion on abortion. And by the way, you can say it's your system based on your religion, fine, but it's still your position. There are plenty of Christians out there that I've talked to that actually, they don't believe that they should have abortions, but they don't want to tell other people what to do with their bodies.
I totally agree with you that those Christians exist, but right now you're talking to a person who represents the Christians who don't believe that.
I know, but my problem with this is for almost an hour now, we've literally gone back to and continue to go back to the 600,000 children argument.
That's because it's my basis of my argument that you have not refuted.
First of all, you have the right to not want to have an abortion. I understand that your your beliefs in Christianity tell you, or you believe in those. Nobody's telling you. That's what you believe in Christianity, that abortion is murder. I fundamentally disagree with you. Okay.
I know.
Now, I could make the case that there are brilliant doctors out there that perform pregnancies every day that would probably disagree with you as well. I've spoken.
I agree with that as well. There are going to be.
Everybody has a different take on abortion. By the way, you're in the minority. Doesn't mean you're wrong if you're in the minority.
No, it doesn't.
But you're in the minority. Now, going back.
So Brian, but the thing is like the argument here, which is being made from the ethical viewpoint, is how is it that you can criticize the ethics of people like me who are acting within the confines of the worldview that we have, our Christian ethics, and we say this is more valuable than these trivial things, which Brian...
I'm going to really quickly interrupt, guys. Just about 10 minutes left of back and forth, and then we're going to get into some super chats. Super chats that we're going to read out are going to be orange and up. If we do that. So, but if there's no good questions coming...
Jake, I have about 35 minutes.
Yeah. So if there's no good questions coming in, we'll just let the back and forth go.
Fair enough.
So go for it.
I just want the counter argument. Do you not have a counter argument?
I have a counter argument to everything. And the first thing that I would say,
you're using sign language, man. You just need to be right like a damn woman. This dude was a waste of time. I'm gonna be honest. This dude was a waste of time, man. What a loser, man. Like he just literally just came to this. And Jake didn't really establish the rules. He just left it as a libitum kind of thing. Like just go back and forward with each other. I would prefer as better moderation on this. I don't think they got into anything, both of them. I think this has to... I don't know, man. I remember, guys, this guy says he's independent. He's not independent, guys. This dude is a lefty. Nothing conservative. Independents usually tend to lead both ways, right? You can hear them there, somehow you can identify a little bit of right wing's ideologies and left wing ideology. This dude is just a libtard, man. Libtard. Destiny and this guy would be in the same equation, kind of a thing, in my opinion. We still don't know the ethical system. This dude went against the Bible, and I'm like, bro, Bible, but he doesn't believe in the Bible, kind of a thing. Like, that's another problem with this. I personally think that, again, and I'm always giving the benefit of the doubt, maybe your belief system might be better than Andrew's and you can defend it better, but we don't know. If you don't have a belief system or ethical value that can go beyond your preferences, the debate is over, guys, because then you don't have moral standing to judge people based on ethical standard. At that point, it doesn't really matter. You can say whatever the hell you want. It doesn't gonna really matter. That's that. We're gonna leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you so much for the support, guys. We're gonna get back to more live in the future. Meantime, guys, I will see you next one. I'm out.